Hi, I'm in my car because I forgot to film the intro for this video when I was at home. And don't worry, I am sitting safely in the line at McDonald's, so I am not driving. Today's video is going to be a fun comparison of high-end makeup and drugstore makeup. I like doing stuff like this because it's fun for me to be able to take a look at my makeup collection in a different way and just be an encouragement to myself to stick to my financial goals. The goal of my channel is to help you do the same thing. So if you want to see how I got this look, then stay tuned and put your guesses in the comments, which is the expensive side and which is the cheap side. One thing that I've really discovered this year in my effort to stick to my makeup no-buy slash low-buy is that it's fun to come up with different ways of using your makeup collection and looking at your makeup collection. I have done so many really fun things already this year, including like palette bingo style things, collabs with other creators to create eyeshadow looks. I have enjoyed pairing things together and underpainting and just a wide variety of other things that I have done in order to keep myself inspired to use the makeup that I have. And an idea that I got a little while ago was for me to take a look at my makeup collection and to look at it through the lens of the most expensive things that I own and the cheapest things that I own. While I'm someone that generally buys my nicer, more expensive makeup on sale or with Ulta points or stuff like that, I am learning to dive deeper into the offerings of the drugstore. What can I find at my local Walmart that's really good and I don't have to spend a ton of money on it? But today is going to be a little bit of an experiment, and this experiment is not going to be like dupes. It's just going to be like exploring the quality, the performance of expensive makeup and cheaper makeup. So the shades might not match exactly, and I'm okay with that because we're just here to play and mess around and have a good time. So let's start with eyes. In an effort to make sure that the eyes had the best chance to look the same, I used my e.l.f. eyeshadow primer. I didn't really want to use two different eyeshadow primers, so I just used that Shadow Lock eyelid primer. So the most expensive eyeshadow palette that I own is the Divine Rose 07, I think, from Pat McGrath. This was so lovingly gifted to me by one of my friends here in the beauty space, DW at Deb's Beauty Diary. I am so forever grateful that this was gifted to me. And then the cheapest eyeshadow that I own, I kind of went with the set that my daughter gave me for Christmas. It came with a bunch of things: eyeshadow, lip glosses, blush, like a whole bunch of stuff for like $15. So if you priced out all of these individual items, they would definitely be very, very cheap because it was probably 15 items at least worth of things. So we're going to do the expensive side here and the affordable, drugstore side over here. And I always set down my eyeshadow primer with a powder. Something about this Pat McGrath eyeshadow palette that I would change would be that there would be lighter tones to do like your crease work. Everything is so dark in here. It's very difficult to go light, and it's really, really, really pigmented. So I just took this shade, which kind of looks purple, but it goes on the eye gray. I'm going to take this, which is a satin shimmer, And I'm going to try to like add a little bit of warmth to it a little bit so it's not so cool toned. I have no idea if that's going to be a mistake or not. I really do love this palette. I just, yeah, I feel like the color story is a little bit lacking in that. So for my outer corner, I'm going to take this brown shade. And again, that looks brown in the pan. It looks very brown and tan in the pan. But when I stick it on my eyes, can you see? That looks like gray, like super dark. The mattes in here are probably not my favorite. The shimmers are where this palette really shines. And it's also the kind of color story, like all of this dark stuff is the kind of color story where I'm gonna like it a lot better once I get all of my makeup on. So we're just gonna continue to try to fix this little like gap that I have in my eyelid. I guess I'm a little hooded in a certain area and eyeshadow doesn't want to like stick right there. You can see it's always kind of like fuss and fight with that. I'm gonna take this shimmer, this goldy, it looks like a duochrome. It's gold, pink, kind of shifty colors. So pretty. I don't know that I've used this shade a whole lot since I've had this palette, but man, so pretty. And then my favorite shade in this whole entire palette is this one. It looks white, but you can kind of see it shifting right there. It actually applies kind of pink. So I'm gonna apply that sort of at the very, very inner part, and you can see the pink in it. So, oh gosh, yeah. The shimmers are really where I get the most joy from this palette, definitely. So that's my super quick, probably a little messy look. We'll definitely try to blend it out a little bit with maybe some other shades or just maybe a cleaner brush once we kind of go along. So now let's dive into the affordable side. And again, this is not going to be dupes. The colors are not going to be the same because these two mattes, and they are the only mattes in here, by the way, they look dark and brown. I'm actually going to use this palette and use some of the browns in this one and maybe even some things in this one because I think that those tones will go similarly. So I'm going to use this shade right here, and that's kind of what it looks like. We're going to experiment. It's not as pigmented as the Pat McGrath. It's going to take a lot of building, and probably what I'm going to do is just be going like back and forth between different shades to at least get it to kind of look somewhat similar to the Pat McGrath side. I don't want to look like a complete weirdo. Okay. Again, just kind of bopping back and forth and between the different palettes that I chose, those two different ones that sort of have like brown tones, gold, rosy pink tones. One thing that I'm noticing that's a huge difference between the two palettes is that the Pat McGrath shimmers are two things. One, they do not apply like they look in the pan, and two, they're so much more pigmented than the, you know, the cheaper version of eyeshadow that I have. And I'm not mad at that. that. I am trying to use different brushes so that I'm not like contaminating the look. Okay, so now we're gonna do kind of the outer corner. I'm gonna go with a shade that kind of looks like that. And again, I know that it's not gonna be like exact dupes. That's not the goal of this video. Just trying to compare formulas because it's fun to experiment with your makeup. What do you do to keep yourself inspired by your makeup collection? If you're on a makeup low buy or no buy this year, how do you keep keep the love alive, I guess to say? How do you stay motivated to stick to your goals? Leave a comment below, because that's the whole thing of my channel this year, especially this year, is to really inspire others to stay motivated, to enjoy the makeup that you have and look at it in different ways. It's nice to get new things. Yes, that's very true. But it's also nice to appreciate what you have. Okay. So all in all, if I'm looking at this up close, I think it did a pretty good job matching the shimmers. I was able to find a rosy pink color to put in the inner corner, and I was able to combine a couple of like gold colors, like these two colors right here, to match the corally goldness of this color. And then I used this pink shade right here to match the pink of the iridescent color. So I think all in all, it turned out pretty good. Now we're going to go to my most expensive foundations. And this is where things are going to go a little worrisome, because they're ultimately completely different formulas. My most expensive foundation is my Bare Minerals Pressed Powder Foundation, and my most affordable foundation is probably going to be chose between these two. From the Dollar General is Believe Beauty's foundation, and then from Walmart is this Pretty Smart foundation. Because the Pretty Smart is not a very good shade match for me, I'm going to use my Believe Beauty foundation on the affordable side and my powder foundation on this side. Okay, so here we go. And I'm going to speed through this process so that we can get to the next step. Okay, so obviously the two completely different formulas, you can't compare them, but I just kind of wanted to be able to use that as an experiment. And it'd be cool to maybe do like a wear test for this throughout the day, because one thing that I love about the Bare Minerals powder, foundation, and concealer is that the longer that this sits on my skin, my natural oils come out and kind of become one with it, and then it really starts to like liven up a little bit. And I think that they're a pretty good shade match. I will say that that Dollar General foundation from Believe Beauty, I'm sure could rival some pretty expensive foundations. It's so good. Really nice medium to full coverage foundation. Very buildable, and like $6, you guys. $6. So next, I know it's kind of counterintuitive to do a liquid concealer on the side with the powder foundation, but we're going to go ahead and give it a try. And I'm actually going to borrow my daughter's concealer from e.l.f. because this is the only concealer that I have aside from the Bare Minerals like powder concealer, but this is more expensive than that, so that's that's my thought process. So we're going to just do the normal amount of dots that I would like normally do with this concealer from Hourglass. I don't know that I said that. This is my Hourglass Vanish Concealer, and I use the shade Sepia. It might be slightly yellow for me, but I think that it's a good concealer, and you know, I enjoy using it. But because this year I have given myself a beauty budget, if I were to need a concealer, I would definitely buy a concealer that is more affordable, because ultimately that, you know, it's all going to be the same. And I'm interested to see this affordable concealer versus the one that's a lot more expensive. I am going to use the same brush though, just kind of like, oh, wipe it off a little bit. It was clean to start out with, and ultimately it's going to be okay. So this is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer for my daughter. She has the shade, I don't know, it's super light. So I'm hoping that it isn't way too light for me, because she's very fair, like super pasty fair. I'm fair, yes, I get that, but she's like, I always tell her, like, you look like Edward Cullen's sister. Like, you're so fair. You look like a vampire. So, I think that the two of those things really did great. This one seems to be a little bit more brightening, and this one is more yellow. When I'm looking at it in real life, it's more yellow than the e.l.f. one. But I knew that going in, so that's okay. Again, that's not going for dupes. We're just going for experimenting with formulas and performance, application, all of that kind of stuff. Now, for bronzer, I want to do my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Palette. And this bronzer, which I enjoy a lot, it's the kind of bronzer that doesn't go on really intense at first. You can build it up, so that makes it kind of nice and like user friendly. But I do find that once you get there with it, then it gets there really fast. Like once you've gotten the pigmentation that you need, stop, because it can go way off the rails real fast. So that's that. It's a nice kind of glowy satiny type bronzer, you know, just really an easy bronzer to work with. And my cheapest bronzer is from the Dollar Tree, and it's my LA Colors matte bronzer, and we are going to put that on. And this bronzer, you don't have to build it up. In fact, you do have to kind of be a little careful with it. When I put my brush into the pan, I do like a press, and then that's it. You don't have to keep going back. Whereas with the Hourglass, you have to kind of keep going back and keep going back. So that's kind of, you know, the thing that you have to know about your makeup products. And when you are actually using your makeup products and not buying more and more and more and more, those are things that you learn about your makeup products. Next, we're going to do blush, and my cheapest blushes are from the Dollar Tree. These blushes from Ione are liquid blushes. This is Warm Rose. I also have Soft Pink, and then another one that's a very bright orangey coral shade. It's very intense. And then I guess maybe I would say that my most expensive is from Persona, and I have 3 of the blush sticks. You know, these are in the $20-ish range, and these are $1. So I'm going to try to do guava on this side. Just a couple of dabs of that. Here's my blush brush. And one thing that's so cool about the Persona blush sticks, and they're multi-sticks, you can put them on your lips, but I don't really like the colors on my lips. I like the colors better on my cheeks. But they have sort of a built-in highlighter effect, so I often find that I have a little bit of glow, you know, once it's kind of had a little bit of chance to marry with my skin. Another thing that's cool about that Bare Minerals foundation is I just put a cream on top of it, and I used the liquid concealer, and it's all going together just fine, you know. And again, that Bare Minerals foundation, that Bare Minerals foundation can really mesh with your skin very nicely. All right, now we're going to go in with my Ioni blush. The liquid blush, Warm Rose, I feel like is the best shade match. And these are so pigmented. And they last, I think, a nice long time. We're going to compare the two today and see for longevity purposes, you know, how things go. It's easy to work with. Super pigmented, just like those Rare Beauty ones, and you can save yourself a lot of money. And I think that this side is even a little more pigmented than this side. I could probably add just like another little dab of the Persona one, and you know, kind of like even it out just a little bit. At least that's how it looks like on the camera, but now in real life. Now this one needs a little bit more. Just a little bit. So if you are interested in these Ioni blushes, definitely check your local Dollar Tree. If you're in the market for some new makeup, Dollar Tree and that Ioni brand really are not messing around. You can go and get some really cool stuff for $1.25. It's just amazing to me. All right, so off camera, I'm going to do my brows and my lashes because I only have one mascara, and it's the Tartelette XL tubing. And then for brow gel, they're all about the same price, but I do have what I do use is an LA Colors skinny brow pencil that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I use that to fill in my brows. And then I use my Rare Beauty brow gel. So it's kind of a, you know, an expensive and a super cheap combo all at once. So I'm going to do all of that off camera, and then we'll come back and talk about the next thing. Before we do lips, I'm going to go ahead and set my face. I do have a super high-end setting spray from Charlotte Tilbury. I got this like as a free sample type situation. It's the Airbrush Flawless Filter, and I really do enjoy this a lot, and I would like to get it in a full size possibly this year. We'll see how long it takes me to get rid of the two that I have, and then I might do it. So let's spray. Oops. Oh. Okay. I think I sprayed too much. And the other setting spray that I have is from Wet n Wild, and it is the 24-hour matte finish setting mist. So both of those I really enjoy. I think that they do a really good job of helping my makeup to set and last a really nice long amount of time. So I'm interested to see, like, again, which side kind of stays the longest. Now for lips, I would say I have two that are kind of my most expensive lip products. One is from Laura Geller, and it's the lipstick in the shade Pink Passion. So I think I'll swatch both of these and see which one I want to use. And I also have the Rare Beauty matte lipstick in the shade Bold, and this one is a lot darker. Oh, actually it's not a lot darker. For lip liners, I really only have 2 brands. Actually I have 3. I have Wet n Wild, that's already pretty affordable. I have Ione, that's obviously affordable, and then I have ColourPop. So I don't really I don't care about that. I'll just use my Wet n Wild for a lip liner today. And then, let's see, with my makeup look, I think I'm going to do the Rare Beauty lipstick. That's this one down here in the shade Bold. Oh, I was supposed to put that on everything. Now, the cheapest lipstick that I have are 2 different ones. One is LA Colors, and then I have some things from Ione again, and these again are not going to be shade dupes at all, because this one is pink and this one is like a brownie color. But this Ione lipstick is very creamy and just super easy to work with, easy to apply on the go. I have 2 colors of that and I love them both. They're really good products. So that is my look, comparing my expensive makeup and my cheap makeup. I think I might do a wear test for you today and for myself today to see kind of like how the things work. And so we'll check back in a few hours and we'll do like some natural lighting throughout the time, so we can all kind of see how the things go. So I'll see you later in a check-in. Here is everything in natural lighting. This is the expensive side. This is the drugstore side. And even though there's no sun out, it's really bright. Anyway, this is my first check-in, natural light. Off to go get some lunch. And we'll check back with you later. It is now about 2:15. My makeup has been on for about 2 hours. Still going strong. I think that the powder foundation is now starting to meld with my skin, not looking quite so dry. And of course the lipstick has worn off, and I will say that the Rare Beauty lipstick stayed on longer than the Ione lipstick. But the Ione lipstick also is a more creamier formula, so that could be why. But I'm also looking at my eyeshadow, and I really am loving it, and especially those shimmers are really hard to tell the difference when I'm looking in the mirror. The Pat McGrath does this side, this side is having a little bit more green reflect in it too, so it's kind of cool. All right, we'll check in a few hours.